The number one show I know that we all agree on is Break the Bank with Lerk and Deion.
Welcome back to another episode of the Break the Bank podcast. For some reason, we just can't seem to get all three of us on the fucking camera for consecutive weeks, but we here though. It's good, bro.
Chilling, bro.
So, as you can see in my background, and you way more in tune with a lot of shit than me, especially on social media. Bradley Beal's going to the Phoenix Suns. We spoke about it last week, couple potential destinations to him. Personally, I think this is a shit move for both teams. Like, I mean, I guess it's good for the Suns that they got rid of CP3, but I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he was entering the last year of his contract. And Bradley Beal, we spoke at length last week about how disgusting his contract is. Now you got Book him and KD. You ain't got no way to improve. We spoke about it all playoffs about their lack of depth, and which led to their demise against the Nuggets. And now they just made it even worse. You got rid of Shamit. They didn't really give up much as far as players, but you handicapping yourself because there's but so many things you could do. You ain't got no fucking cap space. You gave up some second round picks, which is probably all the assets you really had draft wise. Because they gave up a ton of picks in the KD trade too, right?
Yeah.
So they pretty much fucked themselves in the ass, to be honest. Like, how you feel about this trade? For the Suns, for the Suns, how you feel about that trade?
I mean, I think from a business perspective, I think it's a really good trade for Phoenix. You turn CP3 and Shamit and like some second round picks, like lower end second round picks too at that, into Bradley Beal, who, is a multi-time all-star. Like he's a lot better than anything they gave up. They got Jordan Goodwin in return, who's like, he's nothing special, but like, how much worse is he than Landry Shamit? Probably
And they got
not.
Isaiah Todd too.
Right.
I'm not sure if he plays, but
So like if you look at it, like Beal's better than CP3. I think Goodwin is close to Shamit, like similar production wise. And then you bring in Todd. So, I think from a business perspective, I think they knocked it out the park. It wasn't much Washington could do. He has a full no trade clause. Um, it was between Miami and Phoenix, and Miami didn't want him. It sounds like so. Uh, you know, we'll see what they get for CP3 if they get anything, but kind of just being able to hit the reset button is probably good enough for them in terms of assets. Just not having Beal on the roster at this point. Um, yeah, in terms of on the court, I think it's an awful move, but like, um, there was nothing they could do with CP3, in my opinion, that would make them like better on the court to me. So a lot of the same issues they had last year. I think they still have like I don't, I've listened to like whether Hoodie and the Headband, Only Haters, Sleepers, us, like all the podcasts on this network talk about how Def's Phoenix's issue. Like I do think it's a flaw. Um, but the flaw that they have, in my opinion, is you have three ball stoppers, three guys that don't really move without the basketball, three guys that don't create for others necessarily at the highest level. And, all three are elite buckets, probably three of the five best scorers in the league, right? But
I don't know.
they just don't play a team game.
Beal has become very inefficient over the last like 4 or 5 seasons.
Didn't he lead the league in scoring like a year or two ago?
No, it's been more than a couple years since then.
Wasn't it the Zoom year?
And then even with that though, like his I was looking at it last week when the news first came out about him might not be there no more when Washington was talking about the possibility of moving on from him. Well, I mean, look, this year he shot 50% from the field, which isn't bad, but like and 36 from three, but like one, two, three, four. The 4 seasons before that, he shot 35% or lower from three.
Yeah, he led the league in scoring like 2 seasons ago.
And then like you said, it's three ball stoppers, right? Now
Yeah.
you could count on KD to get you some assists. You could actually count on all three of them to get you some assists, but they're not gonna necessarily like create easy buckets for others.
Well, it's that it's take LeBron, Steph, and Giannis, for example. Something as simple as giving the ball to somebody else, hitting a back cut, setting a back screen, some of like the unselfish things the three of those guys do. None of these guys do, right? Like it's gonna.
Yeah.
I brought it up like a few times this postseason when KD doesn't have the ball, he just stands at the 3 point line. Like that's all
Or
he
he
does.
or he stands in the low block and doesn't even really get into position. He
Right.
just stands there.
And when Book doesn't have the ball to initiate the offense, he's the last one up the court behind the ball handler sometimes. He's 10 feet behind the 3 point line. Like, you don't have to guard these guys when they don't have the ball. That's the biggest, like, that. There's a couple things where it's like, yeah, you threw a ton of good names together. I mean, this is probably the best big three in the league, right? Like, this, I can't think of one. I can't think of one better.
I'm not as high on Beal as other people, especially like I mean, I guess healthy. If they fully healthy, I guess you could say that, right? Like, is
Yeah,
there
on
even
paper.
is there even another big three in the league right now?
No, I mean, at Milwaukee, I guess.
But I don't really count that as a big three. Like they technically they have a big three in comparison to the rest of their roster, but like even like Golden State, like Clay's not who he used to be.
We don't have a big three.
Um,
I mean, you could. I mean, maybe if the Clippers get CP3, maybe you could say them. If Miami gets somebody, but nonetheless, it's the best big three at the moment on paper, right?
who's
Like,
the new head coach for Phoenix?
um, I don't know.
Is it
Or
Vogel?
yeah, it's Vogel. It's Vogel. But the problem is, like, it's going to be the same thing that happened in Brooklyn, where you do not have to guard Kyrie when he doesn't have the ball. You didn't have to guard KD when he doesn't have the ball. You didn't have to guard James when he doesn't have the ball. Like, and it's just all over again. There's certain things you have to do to play winning basketball. Like it's different, and these guys don't play winning basketball to me. All three, for what it's worth.
Okay, so what's next for Phoenix? Is Aiton on the move?
No, I think they keep Aiden. I think they're going to be able to provide. I think they're going to be able to get plenty of depth in free agency. I think they have. You have a big four. Don't need much. You're going to get a bunch of dudes that are ring chasing, right? Like they're going to be the hot commodity on the open market. I believe that's a tax-free state. Great weather in the winter. Um, if you're a single dude, you gotta like Scottsdale, right? If you're a golfer, you gotta like Scottsdale. So there's a lot of reasons to go to Phoenix outside of the team. And then when you put these three guys and Aiden together, it gives you even more reason. Vogel's a well-liked coach around the league too. So I think they'll be fine in terms of getting depth. I just don't think it matters. I said it last year during the playoffs. I don't think Book and KD will ever win a ring together.
You think if they get a floor general that changes things?
No. Because these guys don't when these guys do not have the ball, they don't play basketball. They whine and they
And
complain and they just stand there.
do you think do you think things change under Frank Vogel?
No, that's not stuff like that isn't coaching, that isn't like a game plan, that isn't like a play, like that's literally you as a player. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like when KD was in OKC, everyone was like, "Oh, he's just standing in the corner. Like things will change." We're 10 years later. If he doesn't have the ball, what does he do? He goes stand in the corner. I guess it changed because he might stand on the wing now. But it's same. It's same shit.
Yeah. You're right. It's a mental thing.
They're too far along to change. Like if
Hmm.
maybe first or second year player doesn't make that cut, sure, right? Like third, fourth year, that's the evolution of like becoming an NBA player. It's not necessarily talent, it's being in the right place at the right time. And it's not that these guys can't do that. It's that you have three alpha male stars that won't do.
Little off topic, but for you, would you put that as all sports or just basketball, the like 3-4 year window?
Um, I mean, I think basketball should be quicker than that. It's not, but it should be. Um, Probably, yeah. Well, it's
Because
it's not 3 to 4 years to be a good player, right? Like I think, like I'm trying to think of a good example. Like I think Jalen Green's a good player. right? Individual talent, Jalen Green's probably top 30, top 40 in the league. Jalen Green doesn't know how to play basketball in the slightest, right? So that doesn't matter how good you are sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, an even better example, J.R. Smith. How many dudes were that much better individually than J.R. Smith in the league? Like a pure talent, I'm gonna go get you a bucket perspective. Probably not
Nah,
many.
yeah, yeah. As an individual talent, he had to
Yeah,
at least at one point be like top 20 in the NBA.
yeah, he was one of the most talented players in the league at certain points, but he was never in the right place at the right time, even on Cleveland. He, I mean, you saw the timeout fiasco in game one of 2018 or whatever. Little things like that, that's just him as a person. And it comes off the court too, right? Like you could take Book, the shit he did with Bad Bunny.
Oh, the back and
It's
forth on IG.
yeah, like it's all about you. You take what KD does on social media, it's all about him, right? You take Bradley Beal consistently taking that supermax and consistently saying like I'll only go, I don't want to stay in Washington, I want to stay in Washington, I want to stay in Washington. That's because it was all about him. He wasn't willing to do certain things to win, right? And now he's 29 and he's like, I'm never gonna win. Washington doesn't want me. I guess I'll try it now. Like it's not gonna
He's
work.
only 29.
Yeah,
Yo, I feel like he older than that. He been in the league for a minute. That's that one and done shit.
yeah. So I just think it's DNA. Like 3 or 4 years. Best example would be I used to always say like I want Anthony Lamb on the court more than Jonathan Kuminga. It's night and day like who the better basketball player is, right? Like it's Kuminga, but I mean Anthony Lamb helps that defense. He's in the right spot. He gets that weak side rebound and then he cuts off the corner a lot.
Yo, is Kuminga really over 7 feet now?
No, that was a lie.
I don't know. I
Someone
feel like
posted a lie about Sengun growing from 6'9" to like 7 feet or 7'1" or something like that. And like everybody's been rolling with that. Like
oh, okay.
I think Zay Flowers on the Ravens, they said he went from 5'9" to 6'2" this year.
So Wizards, the prize of that deal was the multiple second round picks, if you ask me, because they ain't really get shit in return.
Right.
And they talking about the deal hasn't been finalized because they working on a third team to take Chris Paul. It's been rumored that they trying to get him to the Clippers. I'm assuming it's a mutual thing if they trying to facilitate, like if that's like the go-to move for them.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do for the Clippers? Now you have a big three, right? But
Mm-hmm.
all three are injury prone.
Right. Um, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't think it really does much anything. Uh, um, yeah, I don't think it really does much anything. Same thing, dude. I watch the Clippers play. Paul George doesn't have the ball. What's he doing? Just standing somewhere. Kawhi doesn't have the ball. He's just standing somewhere.
And he's not a good defender anymore either.
Kawhi.
No, no, no. Chris Paul.
Oh.
Kawhi's
Um,
not the guy he used to be, but he could still play defense.
right. Yeah, I don't know what it does for them, to be honest with you, if it does anything at all. But why not? You know, they have a lot of bad contracts on that team, like Markieff Morris, Robert Covington. Norm Powell's probably not a bad contract, but I'm talking about like higher end deals, like that you want to consolidate for one player. If CP3 is the best player you can get or the only player available, yeah, like why not? I think that's the smart way to go. Like that's why I don't hate the trade for Phoenix because it's like, yeah, do I think they did anything to make themselves more of a contender? Absolutely not. Just because on the court it's going to be the same thing, but you just consolidated Shaman and Chris Paul and turned that into Beal.
That's a fact. And they just gave Shaman a contract like a year or two ago too.
Right.
So now you offer that too.
If the Clippers turn Markieff Morris and Covington, who both were pretty much out the rotation at the end of the year into CP3, like that's a pretty good move, I'd say.
Yeah. So real quick before we move on from this trade, way too early. Clearly, way too early. Where do the Suns finish next year? Are they a second round exit again?
Yeah. Yeah. If that. I mean, it would depend on matchup. I'd say, yeah, they're probably a second round exit team though. Yeah, at
And the
least.
Clippers?
Oh, what did Kawhi tear?
He
Meniscus
did. Was
again?
it a tear?
I thought
Was it
so.
a
Yeah.
tear or a sprain? I can't remember, but I
I
think it
think
was
they
like
called it a sprain
his
originally, and
MCL.
then I think he tore something. Yeah. Either way, probably. See, I think the Clippers could win it all. I just don't think they'll be healthy enough to do so. That's the difference. Like, yeah, Kawhi and PG kind of just stand around a lot, but they have a ton of depth and they don't really have a third guy that's going to give a shit about
And
that.
they play good defense as a
Yeah.
team.
And those two
Ty Lue's a hell of a coach.
and those two specifically play really good defense too.
So
Um,
yeah, you were right. Kawhi tore his meniscus. I just checked.
yeah, I'd say first or second round exit based off that.
Okay.
I don't think
I
I don't think they're better than the Grizzlies. I don't think they're better than the Warriors after they make a move or two. I don't think they're going to be better than the Lakers. This is Phoenix and the Clippers. Obviously, they're not better than the Nuggets too. So
yeah.
maybe first round.
I think they're a playing team next year.
The Clippers?
Yeah. I don't think they have a chance in staying healthy enough. I don't think they have
Oh,
three healthy enough
yeah, that
to
might be true.
have a great to have like a great seed. Even the top six, what is it? Six, right? Top six is guaranteed playoffs, right? I don't think they
Mm-hmm.
finish top six given the injury history of their top three. And then not for nothing, like a lot of their role players have injury history too. That's why they're gonna be okay with giving up Morris because he's injury prone. You give up Batum, injury prone. Like the only guy you could really count on, like throughout the regular season, role player wise, to show up every day is Zubac.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
what they got? And then what they got Bones hot. Maybe Bones gets traded too.
Yeah, they should trade Bones, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not that good. He'd be out the
Yeah.
NBA soon. So your boy Dane, that's another guy we've spoken about quite a bit. Now he is back on his shit where he's talking about he wants to stay in Portland again. It was sounding a little iffy when he was on the podcast talking about teams he want to go to, or well that he'd be okay with going to. But he's talking about he wants to stay in Portland, and he pretty much told them, supposedly anyway, it was reported that he pretty much told the Trailblazers he wants to stay there, but he not looking to rebuild. They need to do something to improve the team, and so they could contend. Who they getting for that? What is it? Number three, right? Number three pick.
Yeah.
What are they getting for that number three pick? Because that's their best avenue to improve. Well, like that's their best asset right now is the
Right.
number three pick. So
So
you get
I was gonna say, so I don't I think they're stuck. Because I think that asset's only an asset if Scoot falls, right? I don't know if it has the same value if Brandon Miller's the guy that falls. Specifically, if you're looking at the team, like I think Toronto's the obvious like landing spot, or New Orleans. New Orleans says they want Scoot, and Toronto, I don't think Brandon Miller merely makes sense next to Scotty, and OG for that matter. So Scoot makes the most sense there. If you're Portland, you don't trade Scoot though, right? Like I don't think that's like I think that so.
But do you keep Dame in that situation? Because Dame is probably you draft Scoot. You get if Scoot falls to three and you draft Scoot, Dame is probably gonna request a trade that same day.
Right. So I think Dame moves in that scenario. Like I think the most likely case is Dame winds up in Miami, unless no matter what. Um, because if Charlotte takes um
Scoot.
Brandon Miller, I don't think
Okay.
yeah, I don't think you're I mean, if Charlotte takes Scoot, I don't think you're getting anything for 3, really. That
Okay.
necessarily makes the team better. So you probably just take Brandon Miller. Like, you're not going to trade 3 for OG. You know what I mean? Probably not going to do that. But you would trade it for Pascal if, in theory, if they wanted Brandon Miller. So I think Dame just winds up in Miami. I think Portland winds up a Scoot.
Yeah, it's crazy because last week you were saying that you don't think that Dame gets traded.
No, that I don't think a team can make a better team than Portland can if Portland wanted to. Um, and that's why I didn't think he'd get traded, just because it's like, if you're asking me who I'd rather play with, Jimmy, Bam, and a bunch of undrafted free agents, like, I don't care what they did this year. They're still undrafted free agents. Or it's like, you trade 3 for Pascal, you still have Simons, you still have Sharp to go get another guy. Like, I kind of like the way Portland looks at that, because you keep Nurkic, right? You keep some of the depth they have in like Nazir Little and other guys, and you might even be able to swing keeping Sharper Simons too. So I like the outlook of Portland more than these other teams, but I think, the more I read, the more I like see, like, I don't think they move the pick if Scoot's there. So it's like, the only reason I like the outlook was I thought they'd be trading Scoot.
Okay. You mentioned Pascal and OG. Toronto's got to let go of one of them. Whether they keep Fred or not, they got it. It's time to move on. You already fired Nurse. It's time to shake up that roster and start looking to the rebuild and stop trying to, like, just keep your head above water until you strike gold like you did with the Kawhi trade.
Right.
Who do you think gets moved?
I don't know. I think their asking price is too high, right? Like, I think they're incredibly difficult to deal with. I think the one ring and the quad trade kind of got in Masai's head a little bit. Um, I think they overvalue their guys a ton. If OG, Pascal, Fred, and all them were so good, why were they a playing team? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, were they like, oh, if you trade OG to Memphis, if you trade OG to the Warriors, if you trade OG even to Miami, is he probably a better fit and a better player because of like the role he's playing? Yeah, probably. Is he that much better to where it's like, this guy is worth like 4 picks or whatever the number is they want? Uh, Probably not. I really like Pascal a lot personally. I think he'd be a great number 2 on any like contending team. But if you look at
I
the
agree.
outlook of like the league, who has anything to get him right now? Like,
Probably New Orleans. But I don't think it makes sense for them to go after him, but
yeah. I mean, there's teams that could get him, like, but I just don't know if it makes sense for them to
maybe
get him.
maybe Memphis.
Him and Jaren.
Jaren chill at the 3-point line all day anyway.
I mean, more so defensively. Like, I don't think either of them could bang with centers for like pause for a full season.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Jaren getting in foul trouble anyway.
Well, that's my like he also gets hurt a lot. It's like it's the wear and tear on your body. Like, Draymond plays center in the playoffs, but he doesn't play it in the regular season for a reason.
Yeah.
Not that he can't. I mean, Memphis makes sense. Dallas doesn't have the assets. If Dallas could swing it, like, I think that's a
Portland.
phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, I like 3 for Pascal. I think that makes sense for everybody. But I don't think Portland does it if Scoot's there. I don't think Toronto does it if Brandon Miller's there. Unfortunately,
Maybe they got another first round pick. I think it's in the 20s. Use
Portland,
that. Yeah.
Simon Sharp, and that pick for Pascal. Yeah, I don't think that's enough.
I would try to give something else like Jeremy Grant and Nurkic or some shit.
Grant's a free agent. Obviously, they could re-sign him. But see, that's what I mean. Like, let's say you were able to get Pascal for 3. You have Dame, Grant, Pascal, Nurkic all locked in, and you still have Simons, Sharp, and all your future picks to go get somebody else. That's why, like, I
Yeah.
don't see why Dame leaves. But if they're not willing to move, like, if Thursday comes and goes and three's still there, then yeah, he's going to Miami. Brooklyn makes sense for Pascal too. Uh,
I
but
like
would they
that for
do it?
them.
I don't think so.
And what would they even give up? Because they're not going to give up Mikal Bridges.
They just have a ton of. They have those Phoenix picks. They have. You got what was the kid's name? That Cam Thomas. You got Cam Johnson. You just got a boat. Like they just have a lot of
Yeah.
like players. That they can move. Um, Dorian Finney-Smith. Not that I don't think Toronto would want him, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some Cleveland. Cleveland.
Nah, they're not
I
going to
like.
move off of Allen or Mobley.
I think moving off Allen and moving Mobley to the five with Pascal at the four makes a ton of sense. I
I
don't know if
don't
they
think
have
he
the
lasts a
assets
full
to get it done.
season.
I don't know if they have the assets to get that done, to be honest.
I don't know if Mobley got the durability and the strength to bang bodies at the five for 82 games.
That's on him. That's gonna be that's his next evolution, right? Like he's entering his third year. He's starting to like
Yeah.
fill into his like adult body, you know what I mean? Like for real. So I mean, that's on him. That's how serious he chooses to take the offseason, obviously. So, yeah, I don't know. There's landing spots for Pascal. I just don't know where. I mean, if I'm Miami, I kind of like Pascal more than I like Dame. But I guess you could probably
Harrell,
swing for both, I guess.
Lowry, and picks.
Yeah, you could probably swing for both, I guess. I don't know. Um, but I think OG doesn't get moved if Pascal doesn't. So Pascal's got to be the first domino.
You think Frere signs or he's gone?
I think that comes down to Thursday, right? If Pascal and OG are still on the team, then I think he resigns. If one's gone, then I think he's gone.
Your boy Draymond opted out of his contract.
Mm-hmm.
Dunleavy said that the Warriors want him back. Rich Paul said they talking to them, but they're gonna explore all options. Is Draymond going to play with Bron, or is he coming back home?
No, I think he's staying. Honestly, like I don't even think he starts free agency. Like a free agent. Uh, but what I think is happening is there's tampering involved in everything, right? I think he's realizing his value is higher than him and the Warriors may have been negotiating for the past few weeks.
Okay.
Because I do believe that he was expecting and anticipating to opt in and add 3 years. And I think what he's realizing is now is he can just get a 4 year deal. And if you can get a 4 year deal, like it might add 10 to 15 million on that because his player option is only for 27 million, right? So if you
Okay.
get a 4 year deal at the 30 to 35 number, that's an extra 10 to 15 million on the front and back end. So, and I think, in my opinion, again, I think the fourth year would have been like a CP3 partial guarantee. I think it's going to be fully guaranteed now. So
Yeah.
I really just think that's what's going on. Is he gave all the leverage away with some of the comments he made after the season, um, even during the season. And ultimately, like when you have mutual interest and a desire for a guy to stay his whole career somewhere, and he also wants to do that, there's not a ton of leverage on either side. But if Draymond is fielding an offer that's, let's say, 4 years, $130 million from a Western Conference contender, um, yeah, I mean the Warriors have to pony up now. So I just think that's what's happening.
How'd you feel about his comments when he said, um, what was it? He said that his decision this summer was going to be based a lot on if Bob Myers decided to come back or not.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me. Bob's the guy that drafted Draymond, but I don't think it. I don't think it, bro. Draymond knew in October Bob was gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Bob didn't want to. If Bob's contract ran out last year, he wouldn't be on the team or wouldn't have went through this season, right? It's like when KD came back for his third year. Had we lost the prior year, KD never would have came back. So I just think, yeah, obviously losing Bob's a big deal. They lost Jama, and then today they lost Sean Livingston. So there is changes within the front office. I'm sure Draymond is curious how that's going to play out, but like, do we think like what's realistically the last time Bob Myers called Draymond about a contract extension? Like 2 years ago, maybe. Like it's probably been Dunleavy dealing with this for the last year. So I don't think it plays as big of a role as if everyone was just shocked Bob Myers was gone.
Okay. So you don't think there was much truth to it? He was just saying that because he felt some type of way.
I think there's truth to it, but I don't think the extent of the impact's as big as what he's saying. Like I do genuinely. Draymond and Bob have like a special relationship. They've talked about it a million times. Like both of them have. So obviously, like if Bob Myers re-signed, like maybe we get a hometown discount. And now that Bob's gone, it's like, all right, well, if Portland gave me 4 for 140, you got to meet that number. And if you do, I'll come back. But if you don't, I'm going to go to Portland. So
That's tough. I don't think I see a team offer him that much. But
so this is something I've gone back and forth on. I do think a team does. I think he's going to get a lot of money, but it's because the new CBA, right? Like it's not like we are seeing this. This is going to be the beginning of the team starting to spend more money in ways we weren't expecting them to, right? And do I think it's going to be the greatest contract that the Warriors wind up giving Draymond? No, but like I guess like I've been saying it since the season ended. We are going to look back on that Jordan Poole and that Andrew Wiggins contract, and 5 months from now, those are going to be two of the best contracts in the league. I already think they are, but like that's how gross some of this shit's going to get.
I feel you. I just that's a lot of money, bro. For some, what is he like 31, 32?
It's the years that are tough,
Yeah.
but if you're another team, your goal is to break up the Warriors dynasty, right? Like you're sick of these dudes. And you don't want to give them a chance to come back and do it again. Because you know, if you give them an inch, they take a mile. They've been doing it for a decade, right? If the
Yeah.
easiest way to do that is, like let's say what the Warriors wanted to do was have him opt into 27 million and tack on 3 for 90 and equal out a 4 for 117 deal. If you're telling me I'm Portland or I'm LA or one of the LAs or Phoenix, even who obviously they don't have cap, I can get rid of one of our ops just by offering an extra 20 million. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that all day.
This is this is facts. You take that hit and then you trade him on the back end, or
Yeah.
you use one of that stretch provision shit.
Or you just hope that the amnesty comes with this new, you know what I mean? That they give you a new amnesty again. Or you, in 2 years, you're like, well, fuck it. Like, we tried our best. Our team stinks. Let's reset.
And then if you get one ring, you live with anything else because
Yeah, you're
that's all
not
that
tripping at that.
matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not tripping at that point. The reason I don't think the Warriors care about the 4 year deal is that it would align him with Steph's contract. So I think from a Warriors perspective, they're like, whatever.
I think from a Warriors perspective, like it makes sense. It's everybody else. Like, because the Warriors, you could factor in a lot more than just like the contract. Like there's 1,000 different reasons why you would want to keep him within the organization.
Yeah.
Other teams is like it's not the same. He has to learn a whole new system. He has to be around people he's never really been around like that. Like he comes with all the learning curves of any other like new acquisition. He's older and he's not as good as he used to be.
Right. And it's also like, you know, I don't want to bash him or like say some stuff I know about the last few years that like isn't necessarily public, but There is a circus that comes with Draymond Green that people know about, and then there's a rodeo that comes with Draymond Green that no one knows about. And put it like this: Draymond Green was more upset the video leaked than anything that went on with the Jordan Poole punch. Jordan Poole was also more upset that the video leaked than that the punch happened. That is how good the Warriors are, right? Like when you say an organization doesn't have leaks, when you say an organization doesn't let things out, you say an organization protects its players. We didn't know what happened with Wiggins for 5 months, right? In the middle of a season where you're set to go back to or attempting to go back to back. What organization can provide Draymond that security blanket?
Yeah.
You know, like
and contend for a title too on top of
and
that.
contend for a title. Like, sure, he could go to Portland and play with his buddy Dame and probably be damn good. Like, I don't necessarily believe the whole like Draymond's a system player shit the way other people do. But if you go to Portland, everyone's gonna know what you're doing, right? Chris Haynes is gonna have everything you do immediately. All the little arguments with KD that led to the blow up in December. All the little shit with JP that led to you punching him. All the little shit with Clay. All the little shit with Steve Kerr. Or the fact that, you know, like you try, it was it 2016, that Oklahoma City game when him and Kerr almost fought in the locker room, like shit like that comes out immediately in these other places.
Oh yeah, facts. Pretty much anywhere.
Pretty much anywhere. Versus the Warriors, all they do is joke like the 30 for 30 is going to be crazy. And it is going to be fucking crazy because no one knows a lot of the shit that's going on, right? So, like, that's why I don't think Draymond leaves, because he's a moron. And the Warriors protect him like he's a child for now.
Yeah, I feel you. I think he stays with the Warriors.
Yeah, I just think he's trying to get more money, which is more power to you.
Yo, in other news, Bill Simmons is on record saying that sources he trusts tell him don't expect Zion to be on the Pelicans past Thursday. We spoke a little bit about last week, the potential of Zion no longer being with the Pelicans, what that might look like. And now ESPN has even gone so far as to they had their insiders write an article with 5 trade proposals involving Zion Williamson. So, we always love to play with the trade machine. So I figured I get your opinion on these trades. Some of these shits are just laughable. We're gonna start with something that, in theory, it sound good, but it just don't. I just don't see how this could ever happen. We got Zion going to the Atlanta Hawks. Zion Williamson and Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes will have to agree to a sign and trade in this scenario, by the way. But Zion Williamson and Jackson Hayes for John Collins, Onyeka Okongwu, a late 2023 first round pick, and a 2024 first round pick from the Kings.
Hey, you know, that Kings pick, I don't hate that Kings pick at all. You know, I'm gonna be honest, but I don't know how Atlanta feels about that. But you have Harrison Barnes as a free agent. Sabonis needs an extension. Yeah, I don't hate that. The West is kind of loaded. I don't hate that deal. I don't hate if Zion. I think that chick y'all were talking about tweeted out today. I hope your leg heals up by training camp. If that's true, listen. If that's true, I don't think that trade's that far fetched.
Well, I mean, he got hurt. Didn't he miss the playoffs?
I don't know, but
well, the play in.
If he's hurt again and it's like a question mark that he's gonna start the season or not, I don't think that's that far fetched. I mean, Kungwu has to have decent value around the league, probably.
I still don't think that's enough to get Zion.
No, you'd probably have to add another pick or two, but the base of that deal is not awful.
That would be crazy to have Zion catching. Well, if he sets foot on the court, biggest question mark with him is always going to be his availability. But Zion catching alleys and running pick and roll with Trey and DeJounte Murray ain't bad.
Yeah, they would probably ask for DeAndre Hunter too, maybe instead of picks. Collins, Okongwu, and Hunter, and the 2 picks maybe for Zion. I don't hate that.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I don't hate that from either side.
I don't hate that. Next up, we got the Detroit Pistons.
No, whatever it is, whatever it is.
Nah, listen to this. Listen to this. It's a 3-team trade. The Detroit Pistons get Zion. The Pelicans get the number 2 pick from the Hornets, Bojan Bogdanovic and Isaiah Stewart. And the Hornets get the number 5 and the number 14.
Oh, I saw that actually.
I don't see
See,
why
I don't hate that.
I don't
hate
see
that.
why you think 5 and 14 is worth giving up the number 2 pick?
So what I think is, I don't if they don't want Scoot, they're rumored to want to trade back into the lottery anyway. So if you don't want Scoot, you move down 3 slots, you still get the wing you're looking for. That would come down to how, like, is the reason they don't want Scoot because they're gung ho on Brandon Miller, or is the reason they don't want Scoot because they have LaMelo, or do they just find 2, 3, 4, 5 to all be similar prospects? So it would depend on your, like, what's going through their heads on that front.
Okay. And you think I mean the Pelicans getting number 2 pick, I think makes it worth it, right? And then
Yeah,
you get a veteran scorer and shooter and Bogdanovic, and then Isaiah Stewart is whatever.
as long as you get Scoot, I think they do any
And then
trade with them.
The Pistons, I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you got a chance to get Zion, you give up whatever you have to besides Cade.
Especially if you're moving from the 5 spot. So
Yeah. So I think that's probably a long shot though. Like I just don't see that happening. I don't think Troy Weaver is ready to make a move like that. And the Hornets are in a weird situation with the sale of the team. But interestingly enough, that's another trade offer. This one is hilarious. This shit is probably the most unrealistic shit. You might find a way for it to make sense, but I think this will be a no for both teams. The Pelicans give up the number 2 pick in Gordon Hayward and get Zion and the Bucks 2025 first round pick.
so it's Hayward and 2 for Zion, basically.
Yeah, because that 2025 is nothing. I don't know.
And
I would want more if I'm Charlotte for the number 2 pick.
well, just Zion straight up. I mean,
Yeah, because Zion, like that health is a big issue. It's been like that since day one. Like he didn't even start his rookie season. He was hurt.
yeah, I mean, I would want more too, to be honest. But I mean, they just sold the team. He's from there. Yeah, I mean, you never know. That's You never know. I too would want more though.
I think that's probably the most unrealistic shit. But then here's one that I think is pretty decent. Is a 3-way trade. The Trailblazers, the Pelicans, and the Nets. Portland gets Zion. The Pelicans get the number 3 pick, Patty Mills, Royce O'Neal, and Dorian Finney-Smith. And the Nets get Anthony Simons and Keon Johnson.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good, assuming Scoot falls.
Yeah, like so the Nets would pretty much be flipping well, Patty Mills, Royce O'Neal, and Dorian Finney-Smith for Anthony Simons and Keon Johnson. I think that's pretty good
I
return
don't
for
actually wait. Who did the Pelicans get?
the Pelicans again. Patty Mills, Royce O'Neal, Dorian Finney-Smith, and the number 3 pick.
Yes, that's pretty good.
And all they giving up is Zion.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
The Nets are
Uh,
giving up all of that, and they get Anthony Simons and Keon Johnson in return.
yeah,
And
that's pretty
then,
good. If I'm Portland, I probably don't want to have to include both Simons and Keon, but that's pretty good.
I mean, you still got Sharp. You can still package Sharp or like Nurkic or something, or even Sharp by himself with some futures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
All
don't know. That's
right.
a lot for Zion still. Honestly, I think that's more than what Charlotte's giving up, but Portland's in a different spot than Charlotte too. So I don't hate that.
Now, this is one that I found very interesting. This is the last one. Now, this one's probably the most difficult to pull off, given all the different salaries that you have to add to make shit work, and the fact that James Harden would have to either opt in to his contract or and then sign an extension, or opt out and do a sign and trade. The Pelicans will be getting James Harden, PJ Tucker, Matt McClung, who would also like he's already like been extended the qualifying offer, and then two 2024 second round picks. And the Sixers get Zion, Larry Nance, Garrett Temple, and Trey Murphy.
Say that one more time.
Sixers are getting Zion, Larry Nance, Garrett Temple, and Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy and Zion probably be the only two they keep. And the Pelicans will be getting James Harden, PJ Tucker, Matt McClung, and two 2024 second round picks.
Yeah, man, that's probably not gonna happen.
It's gonna be mad difficult to pull off because there's so many
Well, they
different
would.
variables.
I mean, unless Harden opts in, Philly or one of those teams would be hard capping themselves. I believe the Pelicans, because
They
it'd have
probably
to be
both would
signing.
be.
I think it's a sign and trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like if you have Embiid who's injury prone, adding Zion doesn't really do much for me.
Even if they both healthy, I don't think that's a good fit. I think the
No.
trade makes more sense for New Orleans than it does for Philly.
Yeah, no. I don't like that one. I think the best one is that Charlotte deal. Uh,
With
just
Brooklyn?
no, the one where it's just
No.
Charlotte and Pelicans. Just because, like I said,
Oh,
if Charlotte doesn't want Scoop for whatever reason that may be, I think Zion's better. Good. I don't think Brandon Miller's ever better than Zion is right now. So being able to turn a situation where like you have two lead cards that are ball dominant and you don't want to draft Scoot with LaMelo and then you turn it into LaMelo and Zion's a better outcome than LaMelo and Brandon Miller, in my opinion. Or LaMelo 5-14.
so you think Zion's still on New Orleans by the end of the draft?
By the end of the draft, I do. Not by the beginning of the league year.
Okay. Which is what, July 1st, right?
No, it's like July 10th or 15th. Like free
Okay.
agency
Oh
starts
yeah,
the
because they got
first.
the moratorium shit.
Yeah, so I don't think he will be by the beginning of the league year.
Anybody else any other like big names you think might be on the move?
Um, Porzingis. I think
Sign and
Porzingis.
trade?
No, I think he opted into that.
Oh, he opted into that?
Yeah, so I think he opted in. I think he gets dealt out west too. Um, ultimately, I think Brooklyn moves Mikal too.
You think so? The asking
Yeah,
price has been pretty high, supposedly.
yeah, I think so. There's going to be a domino effect, right? Like between a subset of teams, Sacramento, Memphis, the Warriors, and the Clippers, where when one of those four teams makes a big move, I don't count CP3 as a big move, by the way, but like, let's say the Warriors and the Wizards do that Porzingis Jordan Poole trade that everyone's talking about. Um,
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
so it's Poole, Kuminga in 19 for Porzingis in 8.
And
And then
eight?
yeah, so the Warriors jump into the top 10 and get Porzingis. If the Warriors do that, then you're gonna see Memphis, Sacramento try to get OG, right? If one of them pulls off OG, then I think the other one sends like a Godfather offer for Mikal. And we're far away from Mikal moving, but I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like they really don't want to move him like they're saying, but at a certain point, it's gonna be like too much to turn down.
Yeah, like you can't consider him untouchable regardless of how
No,
high your asking price is.
no, and it's gonna be like 4 or 5 first round picks. Like it's gonna be a nuts trade that I
Not
think is
that'd
gonna
be
happen.
OD.
But it and it's gonna take other dominoes to fall. So like maybe those other dominoes don't fall and he doesn't move, but you have an arms race in the West. Like Phoenix made their move. Denver isn't gonna do anything. The Lakers, who knows? And then you have all these other teams that are just kind of like waiting. Once one does something, the others have to counter. And eventually you run out of guys to counter with too. So you circle back to Mikal, you circle back to OG, and you hope Miles Turner and all these dudes and hope that they finally move after all these years.
Anything else you want to talk about? Anybody
Um,
else?
I'm thinking about what happened. I mean,
Yeah, did I miss
uh,
anything? Cause I didn't even know about the Porzingis pull trade rumors.
well, that's just stuff that like people have been like they people like Bill Simmons has been saying, and Kevin O'Connor has been saying like if Porzingis opted in, like that makes a ton of sense. And
Not for nothing,
apparently,
that'd be
like the
lit for
Warriors and
Golden
Wizards
State.
had talks about Kuminga for 8 already.
Oh wow.
So I think that's why they're like, well, if you add Poole in 19 for Porzingis, but
That's a good move for Golden State. Porzingis wise, like Porzingis healthy on the Warriors is lit. Especially if you bring Draymond back.
I like Porzingis a lot on the Warriors. I think if you were to move Poole, he makes sense because my fear with moving Poole is he is the offensive engine when Steph's hurt, and Steph is at the point where he will miss 20 games, right? Like if not more. That's just the reality. So it's like if you were to move Poole for like OG, or you were to move Poole for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, or something like that, it's like when healthy, that's the better trade. When injured, I think Porzingis could chunk up 30 any night. You know what I mean? So
And I think
that's why I like Porzingis.
The Warriors system will work good for him too,
Right. And
because you
then it
put him
also
at
gives you
different
the
spots.
ability, it gives you the ability to either take like an Anthony Black at 8, or you package 8 with Moody and Patrick Baldwin and you go get like no one crazy because that's not a high salary slot, but if you could get Dorian Finney Smith too, that's a lot for Dorian
That's a
Finney
lot
Smith.
to yeah. I'm about to say that's crazy for Dorian
It,
Finney-Smith.
but you're at the point in that situation where it's like just do whatever, right? Like you don't
Why
think
not
about
get
the
like Cam Thomas instead?
nah, too young. Too young. You need that's we did that last year. They need vets. They need guys that are just gonna hit the open shot, be in the right spot, make that cut, get that loose ball, get that rebound, etc. Like it's a lot for Dorian Finney Smith on paper. A year from now, no
That's
one
what he
would.
does though. No, that's really what he
No,
does
that's
though.
what
I
I'm saying.
mean,
Like, no, I mean the trade is a lot.
oh, okay,
But a
yeah.
year from now, we're not even going to be thinking about what the Warriors moved it hypothetically for Dorian Finney Smith because of how good of a fit he is. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I like that trade a ton. It's better than all the other shit. I mean, I don't really want Drew Holiday, but whatever. I don't really want. Uh, I definitely don't want
Drew and the
Jalen
Warriors make
Brown.
sense too though.
Who?
Drew and the Warriors make sense.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, if he's willing to come off the bench, I don't hate it, but I'd rather have Porzingis than Drew, to be honest.
It
Because
makes more sense to get Porzingis than Drew.
yeah, because Porzingis starts right away. I think Looney needs a break, to be
I
honest.
think Porzingis probably makes more sense than anybody else that's realistically available.
Yeah, uh, and the Warriors make sense for Porzingis as
Yeah,
an expiring contract, right? Like if he's going to get moved, they're not going to bring him back, right? It makes sense for him. It makes sense for him to come to the Warriors where all eyes would be on him.
yeah, that would be a good move for both parties. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he should be ready for that, right? Like he did play in New York.
Yeah,
New York is a tough place to play.
and like I said, the Warriors are extremely protected, right? Like, look at the Wiggins situation. Look at how Draymond gets handled. Look at how Poole gets handled. Poole didn't talk to the media for 2 weeks. We didn't even know. Dylan Brooks doesn't talk to the media once, and it's a national headline, right? So, yeah, it's a ton of media. Yeah, there's a ton of eyes on you, but Steph does like a phenomenal job of like taking care of that. That's probably his biggest like upside of a leader is he will be at the podium every night. So that's one less person that has to go.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a pretty good place to wrap things up. Make sure y'all tune in next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe.